Today in the crypto space, we see the market kind of going sideways. Bitcoin at about 67,000 more or less, and Ethereum more or less around that $3,500 mark. In the last little while, we've been getting a bit of negativity here. Some of these altcoins doing pretty good. However, some of them coming down to lower levels. And as we see a bit of weakness throughout the market, we should be preparing to buy the dip. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator. But more importantly, I want to talk about Ethereum, the heavyweight of altcoins. Could we be seeing a dip? And if that happens, what happens to the rest of the crypto space? So you know what? Let's talk about the news. Let's analyze the charts and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here. Market cap, so far, so good. You know, hovering around that $2.5 trillion market cap. Guys, you know, we're slowly trekking to the upside. However, peaks and valleys, you know, ebb and flows have to be considered. We could be coming down for a bit of a dip in the short term. You know, I'm expecting a short-term dip. Obviously, no guarantees, but if it does happen, I definitely want to be prepared just in case. What I do like is, you know, a bit of an increase in the trading volume in the last little while, showing that there is market participation. However, guys, I'm still preparing. Obviously, we've been seeing a lot of green in the last little bit. Short term, because from the big picture, guys, reality is altcoins particularly, you know, have been at the bottom of the range. Some of them at bear market bottom, some of them breaking below bear market bottom. So what I want to do today is focus on Ethereum, because as the leading indicator for the altcoin season, Ethereum needs to show a bit of strength. Obviously, we got the ETF coming around the corner, a couple of days here and there. We're waiting for that to be actually announced. You know, buying the rumor is a great thing, and obviously, expecting a pump right before the actual event is very possible. But what about if we do come down after the fact, right? So Ethereum, in fact, in my opinion, hasn't been showing that much strength in comparison to Bitcoin, so it does have more room to grow to the upside. And if you look at the altcoins, a lot of them, obviously in the short term, have been doing pretty good, you know, waking up a little bit. However, could we come down for a confirmation low, a higher low? Now, if you focus on what's been happening in the last, let's say, 7 days, some of them have been up double digits. Some of them are up double digits and doing fairly well. However, as we reach, particularly Bitcoin and Ethereum, as they reach, the heavyweights reach those areas of resistance in the short term, and as they get the bearish divergences, could we expect a bit of a dip so that we can deploy more capital? Obviously, the DCA strategy is a great strategy for accumulation, to prepare for bigger moves, to prepare for the bull run, to prepare for another rally to the upside. Slowly build your positions as you build confirmations. And if we do come down for that bottom, ideally we could classify it as a confirmation low, a higher low. So at the current moment, we're doing okay. The market is doing okay, but the 4-hour is showing a bit of weakness. Now, as we scroll through the top 100 here, you can see some of the fractals kind of going sideways. Not much conviction just yet. We could see a little bit more, you know, leading into the middle of the week and maybe closer to the weekend. And that definitely is something that, you know, we want to see how the rest of the week kind of plays out. Obviously, it's the beginning of the week, guys. You know, this should be the time where we see a lot more volume come in, but I feel like there's a bit of uncertainty right now at the current moment, given the fact that prices have been running up a little bit, and I think the market is expecting maybe a bit of a dip, given that the divergences and the bullish momentum is slowly slowing down. So this is something that we got to consider. Today's trader is a lot more in tune with the expectations, especially with the fact that we're not getting many retail involvement at the current moment. No new capital has been entering, which means that all the capital that's currently in the space, the majority of it is belongs to individuals that have been around for a bit and may understand the way the market works. Obviously the peaks and the valleys, the ebbs and the flows. If they know that is going to end up happening, what do you think is going to happen when we've run up 20-30%? Right, these individuals have experience, these individuals have thick skin, they've developed enough of an understanding that after a 20-30% rally up, we could expect a short-term pullback of maybe 10 to 20% itself, right? Maybe down to the golden pocket, maybe a nice 50.5 Fibonacci retracement, something like that, and so that we can scale in further for a continuation to the upside on bigger picture. So I feel like ultimately everything is doing great. I think that right now I need to shift into lower time frames, and I need to start focusing on what Ethereum is doing. Obviously, today we're going to be taking a look at Ethereum, so let's jump right into it, guys. I know you want to talk about charts, so let's do it. Let's take a look at ETH. Ultimately, ETH, in my opinion, is doing a lot better, or looks a lot better than Bitcoin, in the sense that it didn't even make a lower low. Guys, that's a very good sign, right? No lower low. We did make a lower high, but when it came down for the bears to show the strength, guys, they didn't even have enough strength to make a lower low just yet. Now, we didn't break any structure to the upside, in the sense that we didn't break above previous highs, right? It would be nice to break above this high at about $3,950 more or less. And that would give us a confirmation that most likely we're going to reach this high and ultimately potentially get into another move of price discovery. What's more interesting to me is that we look at this as a more of a horizontal level rather than a diagonal. I know it's a lower low, a lower high. I know it's a lower high. However, they're so close by that I wouldn't be taking risk specifically on this top right here. I might as well wait to see what happens above this high. If we break above $4,000, guys, it's likely that Bitcoin starts to move, Ethereum starts to move, and it's very likely that, also Bitcoin is moving to the upside, right? They usually move in tandem, but depending on what happens with the Bitcoin dominance, obviously Ethereum could be outperforming Bitcoin, and Ethereum could be moving a lot stronger, and altcoins in general could be moving a lot stronger in comparison to Bitcoin. But what's more important to me right now is the structure, the big picture structure. You do see that we did get a nice impulse. We're going sideways. It is within a bull flag. It's very likely that we, kind of consolidate within here, or kind of go sideways before we pick up enough bullish bids, or maybe get a nice bullish catalyst like an ETF launch to actually break the 70K level. The 4K level. We break above the 4K level, guys. That's great, because that's the area of resistance that worries me at the current moment. And you can see that these areas of resistance that I've plotted out here in the past, this horizontal line with the red arrow was take profit de-risk zone. You can see that currently the market is kind of dealing with that. Now on the daily, it may not be that clear, because as you can see, momentum is not even overbought. So you know what? We could expect overbought conditions here. Volatility basically is overbought, and maybe be looking for a dip on volatility. And if we're going to get a dip on volatility, we might as well get down to the 4-hour to try to track that dip on that volatility to see where it could land on this dip, so that we can buy it all up, right? But if you see the trend, the EMAs are still facing up, green histogram bars, the expansion is still full on. So there's no real negativity big picture here on the daily. There's still possibility that we get overbought and get a nice impulsive move to the upside. But what about a short-term correction? A short-term correction where we come down for a bit of a dip, and then we can scale in a little bit more. And it doesn't mean that you have to scale in on ETH. It could mean that you'll be looking for entries on your altcoins, right? Because Ethereum being the leader or the lead indicator of an altcoin season essentially means that if Ethereum eventually starts to run with some aggression and some volume and some conviction, we could definitely see some of the altcoins, starting from the large caps, the mid caps, down to the low caps or the small caps, to the micro caps, and eventually see all that capital flow all the way down to the point that we see some major moves. But at the current moment, we need to see strength in Ethereum. Now, it could change, right? This cycle could be different. We could assume that this time it's different. And of course, that's a very scary or dangerous way to think, because the trend is your friend until it's not. And the trend has been our friend for multiple cycles, where every time Ethereum shows strength, we do see strength in the altcoin market. Now, I'm not willing to play that game, in the sense that I'm not willing to find out if it's different or if it's not, or whatever the case may be. When I see the market dip, including Ethereum, I'm scaling in, I'm accumulating, and I will continue accumulating into altcoins, Ethereum included, until I see a top rally. I want to see this thing rally up all the way to the top, and then I would be changing my tune. But at this current moment, guys, we have no choice but to, follow through our convictions, this bull run convictions, and start accumulating. Now, what's interesting is that our invalidation is very clear. If we break below this thick yellow line, this horizontal at $2,888 and change, guys, if we break below that with volume and conviction, it's very likely that we start coming down to lower levels, hitting about $2,300. That's my next target. Obviously, based on all of this mess that we have here going left, we have a node of volume that could act as support, and above it we have a volume gap, an area of weakness of which the price can fall right through and hit this target. So that's what I'm watching out for on the daily. Now, where the magic is on the 4 hour. So let's do that. That's what I've been focusing on lately, is the 4 hour, because I feel like this is the time to expect some major moves, and I want to be able to front run those entries by getting into lower time frames. Now, what's interesting to me is this price action right now. Let me kind of scooch this down. Let's worry about the momentum for a second. So emphasize that. We'll put the trend oscillator away for a second, and we'll look at what's happening with this structure. It is a bull flag structure, okay? Very clearly type of structure that's not retractive. It's obviously a sign of strength when we're moving to the upside like this, higher highs and higher lows, very clearly. However, guys, when we see such scenarios, right, it could be a very great continuation pattern. But at what point do we see a corrective measure? When we see the momentum actually diverge from the price action. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to dump to like major lows. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, look, we have a bit of a volume gap, a very small one here in the Ethereum price that I could expect to trade here on the 4 hour time frame. Again, small time frames. And the reality is that the price needs to break below this zone, right? Needs to fall into this zone. Let's be a little bit modest here. Let's right into here. So if we fall below this horizontal, it is very likely that we fall through to the bottom of the volume gap and get support right around this area, right? Because this area looks pretty good. We pick up a bit of volume and it starts to maybe become a support zone. Now it could come down a little bit lower. It could, kind of hunt liquidity at all this volume, but I'm not willing to take that chance. The reality is the majority of the volume gap is right into here, and that's where the majority of the opportunity is of the weakness. If we are able to fall, that's where I would be willing to be buying the dips and get that confirmation low, the higher low. Now, if you look at what's happening with the price action, we're making higher highs on the price action. Very interesting there, because if you follow what the momentum is doing, it's making lower highs. This is class A bearish divergence. Now, we're getting it also on Bitcoin on the same time frame, on the 4 hour, which we're getting some confluence by the heavyweights, right? Now, we're also seeing the market cap rise while the volume is dipping, also a class A bearish divergence. So it's like we're getting divergences across the market. We're getting 4 hour divergences on major indicators, major leading indicators on both Bitcoin, Ethereum, and market cap, total market cap for that matter. So what is the best thing to think about? What is the possibility of this dip, guys? Right now we're in the chop zone. We're hitting momentums, hitting the 50% mark. Sometimes we get support there, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we go sideways here a little bit and then we continue to the upside and get overbought once again. Is that possible? Very possible, especially after a nice run up to the upside. However, if we break below the chop zone, let's make this a little bit bigger. If we break below the chop zone and continue to oversold conditions, it's likely that we do get one last hurrah on price action to the downside and allow us to buy the dips on a bit of a sale. Okay, so it's not guaranteed, it's just a game of probability. But in the meantime, in the 4 hour, what we do see is this: volatility is oversold all of a sudden, right? It came down. So what about a nice little bit of volatility to the upside? Then on the next dip down, we can we do something like this, and we see momentum come down further, and then maybe this continues, does it again, right? I'm being exaggerated here and simplifying all of this, but you get what I mean. And then we get down, we see momentum slowly trickle down, and we get down to this level where momentum becomes oversold like it was before here, and then finally we on the next move to the upside with regards to volatility, we can move to the upside and start trading volatility to the upside. But that the only way that will work is if in fact we break below the 50% mark, which is this horizontal line right here, if we do not hold it as support. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we use it as support and resistance every once in a while. Okay, here we used it as resistance. We basically had a hard time breaking above. Here we kind of did and went up a little bit higher and so on. But sometimes we kind of respect it, and we struggle around that level, and we don't break down with so much conviction. So we have to understand that because the level is an interesting one, the probability of it basically getting support is very possible, like something like this, and then maybe continue back to overbought conditions. Now, with that being said, guys, as the price action, as we've been looking at it right now, the price action is still making higher highs. Well, while this momentum is coming down, and that's how you have the divergence, right? That's how you can define it as divergence. Now, it's multiple drives of bearish divergence, multiple highs, multiple breaks of previous highs, slow and steady, slow grind to the upside, and eventually, do we get the capitulation? Do we actually get the follow through to the downside? And that's what I'm preparing for. No guarantees that it's going to happen, but I'm aligning my portfolio and my emotions just in case it were to happen. I am prepared to buy and spam buy orders, okay, at those levels. Now I'm looking into altcoins for sure. Now let's take a look at the trend. The multi-trend oscillator is also giving us signs of a bearish divergence. As we do see the price moving up, we see the expansions coming down, which shows that the bulls are not showing so much strength here on the 4-hour. And if we kind of scooch this up, you can see that we have EMAs facing down, red histogram bars to the downside, and it might look like we're, trying to push to the downside and get back into the bearish control zone. So in the short term on the 4-hour, guys, I am very, very hesitant getting into a fresh long until I see overall, confluence shift bullish. So I'm going to take full advantage of the 4-hour, guys, and basically keep an eye on the oscillators, keep an eye on the price action, because if we get big picture once again, any retracements down to this level, right in this area, even using the 200 daily EMA, which is this orange line that is coming all the way from here as support, coming down, back testing it, because the last time it did, it disrespected it. Let's be real. We came right through it, and it came back up, and maybe it's going to come back down to confirm it actually a support. Here it was totally disrespected. Let's respect it. Let's come down, respect the 200 daily, get some support on this volume right here, take advantage of the volume gap, and we'll buy the dip. Now, what about if it doesn't happen, guys? V recovery, we're moving to the upside, and we're getting back to about 4K. That's very great, right? We traded the range was gone, but this V recovery, a lot of the times, they don't happen. They're very rare to get these V recoveries where they get back up to previous price action without any retracement, without getting a nice rounded bottom, maybe getting an Adam and Eve pattern V recovery, rounded bottom, Adam and Eve, perfect. What about if that were to happen? What about if we wanted to call it, let's say, even, coming down for a a dip here? Some people might call it a cup and handle. It's not the greatest because this is very sharp. It's not a rounded bottom, but sure, why not? A higher low, that would even be better. What about a bull flag? Big picture bull flag right into here, and then continue to the upside, right? So this is what we want to wait for, is some sort of structure. Although the current structure is a rising type of wedge or a rising channel, this rising channel could still break out bullish, but we want to see all these momentum oscillators and trend oscillators basically show us that they've reset already, and that negativity, that negative pressure is done and over with. Until then, basically we run the risk of it actually of all these oscillators actually following through and getting the price action to come down to these lower levels. Obviously, invalidation is at the thick yellow line at about 29K, 2.9K, $2,900. We break below there, guys. It's not a good look for Ethereum. It's not good look for the altcoins. It's likely that we start breaking down to much lower levels, and that target would be at about $2,300 more or less. Guys, overall, I am bullish, and this is why I am bringing this video to you guys today, because really, if Ethereum gives us an opportunity, you can expect opportunities throughout the entire altcoin market where you can be scaling up your positions in preparation for continuation to the upside. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.